All right, welcome to our 45-minute lunchtime vinyasa. Let's start seated on our mats with our legs crossed. They can also be straight out in front of you depending on how your knees feel today. And see if it feels good to close your eyes for a couple moments. And as you close your eyes, just noticing how you might start to take this sense of what's going on in your body, or you might hear your breath all of a sudden when you weren't paying attention to it before. Yes, this is my last class I'm teaching in November, which feels kind of weird, but I've had fun playing with just a lot of gratitude and heart openers. With yesterday being Thanksgiving, just feeling like this opportunity to choose love and choose to be grateful for things, and making sure that I try to share a little bit more when I'm grateful. I think I have a tendency to think I'm grateful for people, but I don't always verbalize it. So first and foremost, I'm so grateful for all my yogis. But I find it pretty cathartic to start sharing out loud and saying things of gratitude to people, to things around me. So just a practice I hope to continue. So with this last class for November for me, I think an intention of just choosing love will maybe ring through this practice. Just this chance to love ourselves a little bit more. Even when it's hard sometimes, if our bodies aren't doing what they want them to do or feeling how we want them to be feeling, still choosing to show yourself love and patience. So let's put one hand on our heart and one hand on our belly. Palms are kind of pressing gently into your skin. Starting to notice as you inhale in through your nose, if your chest rises. Does your belly inflate with your inhale? Do those both deflate with the exhale? Taking a couple additional inhales and exhales here. Taking a quick scan. When we complete our practice today, we're going to alternate the lie of our hands right now. So just taking a mental note of which hand you have on your heart. And hoping to bring this practice into full circle at the end. All right, let the hands rest on your thighs for a moment or on your knees. Notice if you can release tension from your neck or shoulders at all. And let's draw chin down to chest. Again, let's just notice in our bodies where we start to feel a stretch when our chin starts to touch our chest. And you might even, if it doesn't cause pain or stress, you can interlace fingers around the back of your head. And to start, I just want your chin tucking. So if your shoulders have already started to round here, try to sit up a little bit taller, because sometimes trying to reach that chin into our chest, we start to kind of hunch our back. So take a stretch with a nice long spine, tuck chin into chest. Notice how it might constrict your throat and make breathing a little different. Then with fingers maybe interlaced behind your head, I want you to shift your gaze up towards the sky and broaden through your elbows if you can. Take a deep inhale in through your nose. And then exhale, chin to chest. This time start to round through those shoulders, round through your spine. Think about the top of your head rounding to try and touch the earth. So it's a pretty deep rounding in our spine. Like you were trying to make a tight little ball. Now draw elbows towards each other and try to touch them. Deep breath in as you open up, gaze up towards the sky. Let that heart open. And exhale, round all the way forward. Again, trying to connect those elbows. Inhale, expand and open. Gaze upward. And one more time. Exhale, round. Connect those elbows or try to draw them towards each other. Open up one last time. This time, release hands and reach them up to the sky. Circle them around and place them on the mat behind you. Lift heart and gaze even further, taking a stronger back bend. Come back upright and walk hands forward, trying to take that complete forward fold over your lap now. You might try to lengthen spine here. And then walk hands over to the right side of your mat. Then walk hands over to the left side. Do that a couple more times, just walking, staying low to the ground, stretching out through the side, maybe stretching a little further each time you go back and forth. So a lot of times we hold these stretches. I want you to kind of have this dynamic movement going for you today. Maybe walk hands one handprint further. And when you're even on both sides, find that forward fold again. And then making our way onto our hands and knees. Let's extend each leg out behind us, just tucking toes. So one at a time, that right foot might extend, toes are on the mat. And start to shift weight just forward and back slightly. You can feel this in your toes, in the arch of your foot. But notice your wrist is moving as well, starting to get warmed up. Let's do that on the other side. Left foot extends, toes are ground down. And then pointing and flexing that foot, letting it slide you forward and back. All right, coming back into tabletop, we're going to extend and reach that right leg behind us, but hover it this time. Draw navel towards your spine, extend the left hand forward and gaze forward. So each inhale, we're gonna lengthen and reach opposite directions. And each exhale, I want you to reach back behind you and bring that foot behind you. We're gonna tap that foot. We're gonna do that 4 more times. So inhale, reach forward. And exhale, bend knee, try to touch that foot. Without looking back at it, you're kind of trusting yourself, knowing where that foot is. Use that body awareness. And with that 5th one, let's grab those toes if it's available to you and push into your hand with those fingers. You can just stay with that bent knee, trying to lift knee up a little higher if you can't quite reach those toes. Again, gaze forward, lift knee, extend front and back one last time and back into tabletop. So if you need to get off your wrist for a minute and take child's pose, feel free to, or take any additional movement side to side. And then when we're ready, let's do that on the opposite side. Left leg extends, right arm reaches, gaze forward. Deep breath in. Exhale, tap those toes. 4 more breaths. Each inhale lengthens. Each exhale draws toe and fingers together. Okay, grab that foot on your 5th one. Take a stretch. You press toes into that hand a little firmer. Reach long. And everyone will come back into child's pose this time. So knees mat width apart, big toes together. Forehead comes down to the mat. Use your exhales here, in your nose, out your nose. Now we're going to walk those hands back and forth like we did with our legs crossed. So walk hands over to the right edge of your mat. And stay low to the ground. Walk them over to the left. Go back and forth a few times, just walking your hands, and each time take it a little bit further to each side. These last ones, take it the deepest stretch that you can on each side. And come back to child's pose. Forehead down to the mat. All right, now we're going to lift our gaze and take a glance up at our hands. I want you to move your hands 1 handprint closer to you. And then looking for some cat-cow movement here. We're going to inhale, drop belly, gaze up, drop your shoulders down. And then exhale, round spine, tuck chin to chest, maybe tuck pelvis towards you. Walk hands 1 handprint closer to you again. So you're starting to rise up. Inhale, cow belly, gaze upward. Exhale, round spine. Push those hands into the earth or mat. Another handprint closer to you. You should almost be to your knees here. Inhale, gaze upward, bring belly and chest forward. Exhale, round spine. Tuck chin to chest. Let's walk back out into tabletop, tuck toes, and lift hips up into down dog. So you're in this upside down V, pedaling out your feet. All right, bend knees, gaze forward, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, long spine, halfway lift. Bring those hands to your shins. Exhale, forward fold and bow. All right, this is that great opportunity. If you aren't quite reaching the floor, you can bring blocks to the top of your mat. Kind of have them there so fingertips can touch the earth for a few moments. And while we're here too, I want you to kind of walk right to left like we've been doing with those hands, finding a bit of dynamic movement right to left, side to side. Feel free to start bending your knees a little bit. Like when you're off to the right side, bend that right knee, keep left leg straight. See how that feels? And do the same on the opposite side. Just kind of play around with some movements as you walk right to left. You can roll head, make sure that head stays heavy and neck releases of tension. And keep that head low as you forward fold at center. Grab opposite elbows. Take a couple inhales and exhales here. And this is that opportunity to let things go, especially if you were hard on yourself about something. Maybe you burned the sweet potatoes yesterday, who knows? Whatever it is in your life, it could be something big or small. If you were kind of hard or critical of yourself, it's time to give yourself a little forgiveness, a little space to make those mistakes like we would give anybody else. Let things go with each exhale. All right, keep that spine rounded and arms are going to dangle. Everything is going to slowly roll up to stand. Last thing to come up is that head. Go really slow. Sometimes that could mess with our blood pressure a little bit, make us dizzy. So once you're here, keep eyes open. Find any movements in those shoulders, in your spine that maybe we haven't taken yet that might feel good. All right, coming into Tadasana, feet are about shoulder width apart. Hips are stacked over those ankles, shoulders over your hips. And that crown of your head reaching towards the sky. Flip those palms so they shine forward. I want to see your palms. All right. Something else I'm enjoying about practicing is I can't see many of your faces right now. Your heads are cut off, but give yourself a smile anyway. I think that those are things I miss most about people with when I run into them wearing masks. Can't quite see their smile. So be sure to keep smiling, especially when you see those around you and you're masked or not masked. Keep smiling. I think it can shine through you. All right, inhale, reach hands tall, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine, and exhale, bow. Bend knees, plant hands, just step your right foot back. Lower down to that right knee. And we're gonna hinge over that left leg right away. I want you to straighten left leg and draw toes back towards you. Take that hamstring stretch. Okay, those same movements that we were taking earlier, we're gonna start off on the left side of this leg. So bring both hands to the outside of your left leg and take a stretch. And keep those toes pulling towards you here to start. And then we're gonna walk hands kind of over that ankle and over to the right as far as you can go. And try to keep the toes exactly where they are. Don't let that foot kind of angle off. All right, walk hands back towards the left. And over to the right again. And over to the left. This time now draw those toes down to try and touch the mat when you're over to the left. And walk hands over to the right. Let's do that one more time, all the way over to the left. Push those toes down a little firmer towards the ground. And then go to the right. All right, stay off to the right here and lunge into that front leg. So you've got 90-degree bend in that knee. And walk hands out about a 45-degree angle. So you're in a version of down dog arms here. Drop head down, try to get it between your biceps. And then feel free to kind of thread that front knee around that's bent. I'm just gonna move my knee right to left a little bit.
looking for any areas in our hips that have tension. And sometimes that might be like, okay, let's do this down dog and start to take that knee forward deeper and then back to like almost like you're going to try and straighten it, but you're probably going to meet resistance, which is okay. Just take those stretches, move a little bit and breathe.
And as you're ready, let's walk back up to this low lunge. Square your hands off around that front foot. Tuck your toes and lift that knee. We're gonna reach forward and up, come into high crescent lunge. Gaze upward and sink low into your lunge to take a deeper stretch. Cactus arms back bend. Gonna draw elbows towards each other behind you. Inhale, reach tall. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Let's step forward. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. And exhale, bow. Step your left foot back. Come down to that knee. Straighten front leg. Draw toes towards you. Take that forward stretch to start. And then walk hands over to the right side of that front leg. Again, watch what I do with my blocks here. Like your blocks could really just be an extension of your hands. If you're struggling to kind of reach for the ground underneath your knee rather than up around your ankle, you can just use your blocks and walk back and forth with those blocks. All right, let's take those right to left. Moving slow enough so that you can notice changes in that muscle and changes in your body as you go to each side. Again, remember to keep those toes kind of firm, drawing back towards you, not making that ankle twist and turn right here. The next time you're over to the right, I want you to press those toes towards the earth so the top of your foot is stretching out. And walk hands over to the left, back to the right, and over to the left. All right, leave those hands on the left and lunge forward into the front knee. Walk hands out about a 45-degree angle away from you. You've got this lunging down dog. Trying to get ears between your biceps. Thread that knee right to left. Notice how that feels. Just address any tension with breath or any tightness you find. Pause. You can lunge a little forward and back. And just trying to keep your hands kind of planted where they are. Let's walk hands back around that front foot. Tuck toes on the back foot, lift up off of your knee. Deep breath in as you rise, reach up to stand. Exhale, cactus arm back bend. Reach hands high. Plant them to the mat and step forward. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, bow. Inhale, rise, reach up to stand. Take a back bend here. Arms can be cactused, or if you want to try this straight arm back bend where hips are just pushing forward. Rise up tall, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, bow. Bend knees, plant hands, step back to plank this time. Take your chaturanga push-up. So that can be on your knees or up off your knees, whichever version you like. Flow through up dog and come to down dog. Pedal out those feet. Let's take a right leg high. Step forward to low lunge. Now this is going to be another opportunity to grab our blocks if the floor becomes too far away from you. We're going to straighten that front leg. And I want you to stay on the ball of that back foot. So we're going to be a little tippier than we would in pyramid maybe. Try to keep hands on the ground, folding over that front leg. If that knee doesn't want to straight, that's a great indicator of like, okay, I'm going to bring those blocks under my hands just so I can straighten that leg and feel that stretch. And then let's walk hands over to the right here. So we're in a bit of a twist. Walk hands or blocks over to the left. So feet are staying firm where they are. Not a lot of movement in our hips. It's mostly our upper body as you walk back and forth here. Let's square those hands off around the front foot. Take your lunge and inhale up to high crescent. All right, if your feet aren't on like two train tracks here, if they're not shoulder width apart, kind of check in there. And then we're going to drop right arm down by our side and reach left arm into this small crescent stretch. Inhale, back up to center. Exhale, left arm comes down, right hand reaches up towards the sky. Inhale, back to center. Both hands come down to the earth. Let's step forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. Step back to plank. Find your chaturanga flow. Everyone will come to down dog. Inhale, take left leg high. Low lunge. Straighten front leg. Use those blocks if you need to. Walk hands over to the left side of your mat. Again, stay on the ball of that back foot so you're energized there. Just take some movement right to left. And make this your practice. So if you want to pause anywhere and take a little additional stretch in one spot, feel free to do that. And let's walk hands square off around that front foot again. Bend your knee, inhale up to high crescent. Lunge deeper. And checking in with your stability here. Left arm goes down by your side, right hand reaches up. Inhale back to center, right arm comes down, left hand reaches. Come back to center, both hands high. Exhale, hands down to the mat, low lunge. Step forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. Rise, reach up to stand. Hands down by your sides in Tadasana. Again, just kind of reflecting here for a moment. Let that collarbone broaden slightly here. Seeing how you're feeling. Remembering that intention for today, that pure love for ourselves. I would say like pure love is different than love. Like you can love something, but that pure love is kind of this whole existence of a different place that doesn't ask for anything in return, doesn't take. It's just kind of this offering of acceptance, whatever your life or mind looks like. All right, take an inhale, reach hands out and up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, long spine. And bow. Bend knees, plant hands, find plank. Flow through chaturanga. Up dog and down dog. Right leg lifts high. Step forward to a lunge. All right, blocks handy again, possibly, for the top of your mat. We're gonna lift forward into a warrior three. So for warrior three, fingers are on the ground or on blocks. That leg is extending behind you. And it might be low, it might be high. Whatever height it's at, try to keep those toes energized towards the floor. So that foot is flat. If you can see your toes by peeking behind you, make sure they're straight towards the ground. Now plant left hand down on the ground or on the block and open up into a twist towards the right side. Now bring right hand down, open up to the left side. All right, flow back and forth here just a couple times. You might be super wobbly, totally okay. But you're working on building some strength, focus, and balance all in one place here. Make adjustments for what your body needs to kind of feel good. And when you're even on both sides now, bring both hands down to the ground and swing that foot down, forward fold. Fold deeper into a stretch here. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, bow. Step back to plank. Flow through chaturanga. All the way to down dog. Let those heels ground down for a moment towards the earth. And then inhale, left leg high. Low lunge. Launch forward to warrior three. Peek back at those toes. Check in if they're pointing towards the earth, and you kind of want them to stay pointing towards the earth. And right hand plants, left hand opens up into a twist. Slowly flow back, left hand down, right hand up. And take that a couple more times each side. If you're holding your breath, try to breathe. And once you're even on both sides, you're going to take it back to forward fold. Hanging head heavy, shoulders release of tension. Maybe this time grab the backs of your calves or ankles or heels. Take a deeper forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. Rise, reach up to stand. Take a back bend here. Cactus arms or straight arms, kind of whatever feels good. Even like I like to sometimes swim around backwards here to just move a little bit into any tension. Inhale, rise, hands high. Exhale, hands down, forward fold. Halfway lift and bow. Bend knees, plant hands, step back to plank. Flow through chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, down dog. All right, pedal out your down dog. It's our final one of this practice today. So taking any additional breath or movement here that your body needs. I'm going to give you, let's see, about 30 seconds to make your way down to a seated spot. So if you have extra stretches here you want to do or something, feel free to take them. And then once you're ready, you'll just come down to a seated spot with your legs straight out in front of you. Sitting up nice and tall. And I'll turn sideways here for a second. I'm going to place those hands behind us. Fingers are going to point backwards behind us, or away from us would be a better way maybe. And then tent your knees off, take them mat width apart. And just play with this small cat-cow movement here. Bring chest forward, bring belly forward and gaze upward. And kind of round then shoulders forward. Couple more. Inhale, lift heart. Exhale, round. All right, now take knees just right to left. One of my favorite moves is this stretch where you're just spending a little time, knees on one side, twist shoulder away from the side that you're bringing your knees down on. And come back to center. And extend legs out in front of us. And then bring left foot in towards our thigh. This is our Lord of the Fishes twist. So foot can stay here. If you can, step it to the outside and get a good foundation under that foot. Check in, make sure your sit bones are nice and firm on the earth. Third option, tuck that foot under you. Again, checking in, does that left hip lift and hover up off the ground, or does it make a connection? Can you adjust any way to get yourself more firm on the earth? I'm gonna hug that knee in towards you. Take right hand, put it to the outside of that knee to keep hugging it in, and then inhale, reach left hand high. Create length in that spine, and then reach straight behind you and place hand down on the mat. Turn to the left. Keep pulling that knee towards your chest with your right hand. Gaze backwards. Try to relax into that left shoulder a little bit if it's kind of poking up by your chin. See if you can create length there. Then relax that right shoulder as well, and then shift your gaze over that right shoulder. The only thing changing is your gaze. Now go back to the left. Now look to the right. Kind of seeing how that feels in your neck. Back and forth. Slowly come back forward. Let's extend our legs. Let the blood flow into them for just a moment. And then tuck that right foot towards you. Stepping through each level, level 1, level 2 to the outside of that thigh, level 3. Checking in with those sit bones. Left hand hugs that right knee towards you. And inhale, right arm high. Rotate backwards, place that hand behind you. Gaze backwards. So continue to keep that length in your spine as you drop shoulder away from you. Now shift gaze to the right and to the left. Back and forth. Release that all and come back forward. Inhale, reach hands both up tall, and then reach for your ankles or toes, forward fold. Let that chin tuck into your chest here. Notice how tucking that chin can feel in your shoulders or back. Maybe you can even feel that into your legs sometimes. Pull toes towards you. See if you can round through that spine a little bit more as you release toes. And slowly slide those fingers towards you as you roll down to your back. Take a full body stretch once your shoulders are down. Pull knees towards you, hug them in, rock right to left. All right, one final hug in. Wrap those arms around your shins as tight as possible, making the smallest little ball. Think about if you had to get into one of those little magic boxes or a piece of luggage, how small you'd have to get. So you're really squeezing in. Give yourself that big hug. Slowly use a full inhale and exhale to release down to Shavasana. All right, so this is where we check back in. Remember which hand you had on your heart. Let's put the opposite one on our heart and then our belly. Taking some time here. I'm going to take our Shavasana like this today, knowing that this opportunity is here for Shavasana every time you take it. It's not always about releasing those hands out to our sides. Shavasana is about taking what we need in our practice. So sometimes we feel we need to be more open and receptive. Sometimes we want to keep things close and some inward work. Sometimes it just feels good to do something a little different. So noticing the difference in this Shavasana versus others you've taken. Letting that breath be easy. Letting that smile turn those corners of your mouth upward just gently as a way to release tension from your cheeks. And then as you're ready, Let's start to take any movements here, rolling wrists and ankles. You're going to come up to a seated spot on your mat. Finding this softness to how you're sitting. And even though your body's at ease, finding some alertness, kind of sensing things around you. Nothing too far away, just maybe the air. And as you're ready, take a deep inhale, reach hands out and up overhead. Bring hands down to your heart head bows. Thank you so much for taking this time to love yourself. And in turn, that love is shared throughout your entire space and being. Hope you guys have this amazing weekend filled with love and light. Namaste.